Well, as we've previously covered, Elon Musk's bromance with Donald Trump has effectively ended with the passage of Trump's deeply irresponsible One Big Beautiful Bill, with Musk declaring that he's going to create a new political party called the America Party as an alternative to what he called the Democrat-Republican Uniparty. Leaving behind the obvious question of judgment that this raises, given how Musk spent over $250 million last year to get Trump and other Republicans elected, only to now say that they are basically the same as the Democrats he hates, we thought we'd take a look at whether his proposal itself is actually viable. Frankly, in the spirit of a broken clock being right twice a day, Musk is obviously right about how dysfunctional America's two-party system has become. Indeed, he's not the only tech billionaire who's frustrated with OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman declaring that he's politically homeless, web entrepreneur Mark Cuban seeming to support Musk's proposal, to say nothing of what I imagine to be millions of Americans who are verging on despondent about their political options. And it's not hard to see why. Even former Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang said that he supports the idea. But the real question is whether a new party can solve anything. And the answer really depends on the approach. So first of all, let's deal with the most obvious point. A third-party candidate is almost certainly not going to become president, given the distorting effects of the Electoral College, which is reflected in the fact that no third-party candidate in history has ever even come close. Ross Perot's 1992 run as an independent, he got 20% of the vote, and that resulted in exactly 0 Electoral College votes. So there will not be a third-party president anytime soon. But what about Musk's proposed strategy of picking a handful of House and Senate races to focus on in hopes that the America Party can hold the balance of power between the Democrats and Republicans? This has much greater potential, and it's good that Musk is focusing at that level, as election results are often so close these days that just a few representatives could make a difference in a lot of votes. But the biggest problem with changing U.S. politics, and Canada has similar difficulties around this, is the first-past-the-post system. And it makes it very difficult to break into a two-party system like the States because third-party voters basically take votes away from the party they'd next most want to have win. So it's hard to motivate them to gamble on the outcome, knowing that their third party would have to win a plurality of the votes to win the seat. Now, this is why proportional representation is so essential if we want to avoid two-party domination. There are several different ways to do this. It's used by successful countries all around the world, but the gist is that proportional representation awards parties with seats in such a way that they are proportional to the percentage of votes the party got. So if your party got 40% of the votes, then they'll get 40% of the seats. Contrast this with Canada's most recent first-past-the-post election, where the Liberals and Conservatives were actually within a couple of percentage points of total votes from one another, but the Liberal Party wound up with 24 more seats than the Conservatives. Now, it's very difficult in the States to change federal voting laws because any change is going to have to be voted in by the parties who it's going to work against. So the two major parties and their representatives would have to essentially vote to disempower themselves. So that's pretty unlikely to happen. However, there is encouraging movement happening at the state and local levels to adopt proportional representation. And that's the most likely avenue to real change in how Americans vote. So that's where I'd put my effort in if I were Musk. But let's make something absolutely clear. Aside from having more money than literally anyone in the world in all of history, Elon Musk would be a terrible figurehead for any new party, and there's no telling if his new party idea is something that he'll quickly become bored of. But that doesn't mean other people can't start making progress, especially at the state and local level, to at least bring increased awareness of other voting options to American people. Lord knows what's happening right now is not working very well. I'm the Other Mac. Keep pushing for change out there.